It has given us a lot of food for thought, especially how unarticulated rights have been treated as inherent and embedded in the guarantees which are spelt out in the Constitution. We are very grateful to you, sir, for having come here all the way. And it needs to be mentioned because I just learned that sir has even declined to accept even the payment for the tickets from us. No, and we are very grateful, sir. He has been, it's a great honor to have you here. Thank you very much. I now request...
I'm only doing legal service.
We are grateful, sir. I now request our senior judge, Honorable Mr. Justice Sonal, to kindly deliver the concluding address.
My dear brother, Justice Menezes, Mr. Ranjit Kumar, Senior Advocate and former Solicitor General of India, the President and Office Bearers of the High Court Bar Association, Learned Advocate General, Mr. Khalap, our former Union Law Minister, respected senior advocates, the academicians who are present today, the principals and the staff at the professors of law colleges, law students, respected members of the bar, and my dear friends. Greetings on the eve of Constitution Day. After such a thought-provoking and a masterly presentation by Mr. Ranjit Kumar, it would be a folly to say something more. Friends, I think it was Robert Frost who once said that the world is composed of two types of people, broadly of two types of people. Those who have something to say and can't say it, and those who have nothing to say but keep on saying it. But Mr. Ranjit Kumar defies both the molds. He does not belong to either of those types described by Mr. Robert Frost. He had so much to say on today's subject, and he said it with such grace as well as force. It was indeed an inspiring presentation. Thank you very much, sir. This was a treat, an intellectual treat. Today, Mr. Kumar has brought to bear his vast knowledge of constitutional law, and more important, I would say, his vast experience in dealing with rule of law cases. And it is a combination of these two aspects that has gone into crafting such a wonderful presentation to all of us. His words and ideas, as you have noticed, flowed effortlessly. And when anything so sublime is presented so effortlessly, be sure that a lot of effort has gone into its preparation. Otherwise, this is not possible. Usually, I would say, it is a lifetime of preparation. Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for this illuminating evening. And I must say thank you because sometimes there is a darkness which engulfs even the most well-meaning optimists. And we need to dispel it, and you have done exactly that today. Thank you very much. Now, having scholars like Mr. Kumar make such scholarly presentations is one of the best tributes that the High Court Bar Association and our Goa Legal Services Authority can pay to our Constitution. Today's topic was very well chosen, as Mr. Almeida said at the outset. Rule of law may not have been specifically mentioned in our Constitution, but it is certainly the fabric on which our Constitution is written. Now, coming back to Robert Frost, I must regretfully confess that I belong to the type which has nothing to say but keeps on saying it. They say that wise men speak because they have something to say, and fools like me speak because they have to say something. I think the best way to know what rule of law means to us in everyday life would be to recall what happened when there was no rule of law, or when, for an unfortunate brief interregnum, the rule of law was suspended. This hallowed concept of rule of law is like the air or the oxygen that we breathe in. No sooner we have a Delhi or Bombay type of a polluted situation, we gasp to realize the importance of fresh air and constitution. As long as there is no crisis, we tend to take the oxygen that we breathe, or for that matter, the contribution of the rule of law to our lives as granted. As explained by Mr. Ranjit Kumar, the rule of law has several facets. The rule of law does not mean that any of the three organs of our government, the legislature, the executive or the judiciary, is superior to each other. It certainly does not mean that the judiciary is superior to the legislature or the executive. Certainly not. The rule of law implies that all these branches are subservient to the law and to the constitution. All these three branches must function within the limits set out by our constitution. Our constitution, which is the people's document, is what is supreme. So the supremacy of the constitution, the supremacy of the laws and not of men, is one of the essential facets of rule of law. Secondly, I must say that the enduring legacy of rule of law is that no power, whether entrusted to the legislature, executive or the judiciary, is either absolute or unlimited. All power is to be held in trust by the three branches. All power is to be exercised subject to the constraints imposed by law. Thomas Fuller famously said, "Be you never so high that the law is above you." Thirdly, I would say that rule of law expects equality before the law and equal protection of the law. Special and well-defined circumstances must exist before anyone can be given a special treatment or a special protection. The application of laws must not be whimsical or arbitrary. Given the complexities of administration, some amount of discretion is inevitable. But we must endeavor to see that this discretion is minimal. Discretion must be regulated, guided, and not unfettered or untrammeled. Vesting of absolute discretion in any authority or vesting of unlimited powers in any authority is destructive of the rule of law. Fourthly, I should say that all branches must act in good faith and exercise their powers for the legitimate purposes for which the powers are entrusted to them. Constitutionally, it may not be permissible to impute bad faith to the legislature itself. Still, a law enacted by the legislature with utmost good faith may also sometimes not pass the constitutional muster. The legislature, in a sense, is a delegate of we the people. And it is in we the people the true sovereignty vests when it comes to a democratic setup. So if there is a conflict between the law made by the legislature, which is to be regarded as a delegate of we the people, and the law made by the people themselves, which is the constitution, then the former must yield and the constitution must prevail. That is the basis of our concept of judicial review of legislation. And this is also our idea of the rule of law. Access to justice is also another important facet of the rule of law. This contemplates easy and inexpensive procedures. This contemplates a free and an independent judiciary. The concept of independence of judiciary is not primarily to afford protection to the judges. This concept is our constitution's commitment to the people. This concept is a very essential facet of the rule of law. Justice, they say, like truth, is one of the most valuable commodities that we have. But let us not go by Mark Twain's tongue-in-cheek comment, where he says that because truth is our most valuable commodity, let us economize its use. Similarly, I would say that one of the most important commandments of the rule of law should be thou shalt not ration justice, because it is one of our most valuable commodities. Fair procedures are important to the rule of law. Therefore, the importance of natural justice. Means are as important as the ends. It is sometimes said that ends justify the means, but this overlooks the crucial detail that only just means will communicate in a just end. In gaining our rightful demands, we must avoid being guilty of wrongful deeds. Therefore, even judicial review focuses on the decision-making process rather than the decision itself. The Goa High Court Bar Association and the Goa Legal Services Authority pay a very fitting tribute to our Constitution by having such functions and discourses on some of the essential features of our Constitution, like the rule of law. I conclude by saying that we have reason to be optimistic. If some of our hopes were dupes, maybe our fears will be liars. Say not the struggle not availeth. Friends, 75 years is not a very long time in history, provided we are prepared to acknowledge our mistakes and then learn from them. Fortunately, we are blessed with the bedrock of traditions. We may have forgotten them, but I do not believe that we have forsaken them. We have to revive them and we have to build on them. As I said earlier, functions like these and eminent speakers like Mr. Ranjit Kumar go a long way in contributing to such a revival. Thank you very much, dear friends, and Jai Hind.
We thank Honorable Mr. Justice Sonal for his concluding remarks. We all know very well that Honorable Mr. Justice Sonal is a constitutional expert, is definitely a constitutional expert.